Hey you guys, it is I, your very own AMARU, and I'd like to welcome you to the premiere episode of Season 15 of your favorite culinary web show, Food and the Single Guy. And I'm coming at you today from the great city of Miami. Oh yes, and I'm having a blast. It's a sunshiny day, there's a lot of wind, but I figured, I might as well do some work while I am here. So, welcome to the new season of Food and the Single Guy. And before we get on to the cooking, I'm going to update you on a couple of things. I am traveling. I am in town for the Latin Grammy Awards. I was not nominated, but I will be in attendance because it's good to network with people, like-minded individuals. So that's why I'm here. And in addition to that, I'm also going to be in San Marino in Italy in about a couple of weeks. And I'm going to be performing. I'm a finalist in a music competition, and I'm quite looking forward to that. My album, The Crime of Silence, was also a contender for the regular Grammys. I was not nominated, but my collaboration on a blues album was nominated. So I am officially a Grammy nominee. So thank you all for supporting my music. Now, on this premiere episode of Season 15 of Food and the Single Guy, I am going to serve you yet again a traditional dish from my native country, the Republic of Suriname in South America. And what I'm going to be cooking for you today are leafy greens with warm smoked fish. In my native Creole language, we would say Bita Wiwiri, Nanga, Warang Visie. Okay? It's warm smoked fish smothered in tomatoes and onions and garlic, a nice little sauce. And the leafy greens, the bitter leafy greens, Bita Wiwiri, bitter leafy greens, are a very, very delicious kind of vegetable in my country and among some of my favorites. So I'm gonna serve you that. It's a simple home cooked meal, but it is also delicious. And I can tell you that the amount of money that I paid for all of these ingredients was staggering, okay? I am very blessed to live in a country where we have regular access to a lot of products from my native country, but they exaggerate a lot with the prices, okay? As per me, I'm gonna list all the ingredients for you in the information box below the video. So without further ado, let us continue. Okay, you guys, so here we have the bitter greens, and I have purchased 3 bundles or bushels, and I'm gonna show you what they look like in a minute, and they smell absolutely gorgeous. Now let me open this. Cut it open just like so I can show you what the leaves look like, because these greens are a tropical this is a tropical plant and not innate to Europe or anything like that, or to North America or Canada. So here we go. Don't they look gorgeous? And like I just said, they smell so delicious. They remind me of home. Now let me show you from up close what the leaves look like. See? And then on the back of the leaf you have this thick vein in the middle. I'm going to show you in a minute how to prepare these greens for cooking, because you don't simply remove the leaves from the stalk. No, there's a special way of doing it, and I'm going to show you how to do that in a minute. Okay, now let me go ahead and get ready so I can show you how to proceed. Okay, beautiful people, so what I have here is one of the stalks of the greens, and as you can see at the bottom, the leaves are bigger, obviously. The stalk, on the other hand, is very tough. We don't use the stalk, we get rid of it. At the top of the stalk, you will notice that it is very much pliable, and that is because the top of the plant has not yet matured. Okay, now let me show you how to prepare the greens for cooking. So what you do is you simply remove the leaf from the stalk, just like so, and then you fold the leaf in half, right, like so, and then you pull the leafy part away from the vein. So you're separating the vein from the leaf. So you'll end up with the vein and you'll end up with the leaf, and the leafy part is the part that we're going to use. This part, we're not going to use this, okay, because it's very tough and very chewy. We don't want to ingest that. So this is the part of the grains that we're going to use. And again, the top part is very young, it's very juicy, it's very, you know, pliable, bendable. It has not yet matured, so you can get away with snapping it just like so. And this is the part that we're going to use because it's not chewy, okay? Now, I'm almost done, and I can't wait to start cooking because I'm hungry. There we are. I am all done. What I'm going to do next, I'm going to wash the greens. I'm going to then put them in my vegetable spinner and spin them around to get rid of all the water. Because one thing about these greens, you need to cook them when they're absolutely dry, okay? Or else it's going to turn into soup, and that is not what we want. And another thing, you may think to yourself, that's a lot of greens. This is going to reduce to very, very little, maybe just a handful. So let's keep that in mind, all right? All right. See? We're gonna spin it one more time. So this is what I'm talking about. It is still wet, but it doesn't contain a hell of a lot of water anymore, and you're gonna spin until there's little to no water left in the grains, okay? So let's continue. Okay, you guys, so in my country, we are known for our one-pan dishes, okay? We just love our meats and vegetables together. And we have a lot of one-pan recipes featuring these bitter greens. But today, I am going to prepare them as a side dish. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to heat some oil in my pan, just like so. And that'll do just fine. So to my oil, I'm going to add my onion and my garlic. We're gonna give it a good stir. And we're simply going to saute the onion and the garlic. And as soon as they've taken on some color, we're gonna add the greens. So the onions and the garlic have taken on some color. I am now going to add the greens. And you want to add a little bit at a time. There we go. So we're simply going to continue to cook these grains on medium heat with a regular stir. Don't add any water. And I can tell you right now, if I decide to cover the pan, it is going to generate a lot of water. At this point, we're going to add some seasonings. I'm going to add a hint of black pepper. And you know how we do in my country, we use a lot of chicken stock cubes or chicken powder. That is what I'm going to add right now to my greens. Just a little bit will do just fine. So let's give that a good stir. Now you guys, these greens in general are a little tougher than regular greens, so you want to make sure that they're cooked all the way through. Now what I said earlier, if you cover the pan completely, it is going to generate a lot of water, but at the same time, nobody likes stuffed vegetables, stuffed greens. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to slightly cover the pan and I'm going to allow this to simmer on low heat for about 10 minutes, okay? Alright. There we go. Okay, you guys, so what I have here is my smoked fish, and in previous episodes of Food and the Single Guy, I have shown you how to debone this fish, and it is actually a very staple ingredient in my country's cuisine, especially in our cuisine, the black cuisine. It is used quite often, and the smoky flavor of the fish adds such a delicate flavor to your dishes, and that is why we use it quite often, because, you know, flavor is everything. So let me go ahead and show you once again how to debone this fish. And in actual fact, in my cookbook, Amaru Cooks a Touch of Suriname Through Food and Anecdotes, I've also shared a recipe in which I use smoked fish. So in case you haven't picked up a copy of my cookbook yet, go ahead and do so right now. The link is posted in the video description below the episode. Now you guys, one thing you need to know about smoked fish is that when you purchase it, you need to purchase a sufficient amount, because otherwise it's not going to be enough to feed your family. The fact of the matter is, the fish has been smoked and the flesh is now dry, so when you pull it apart, when you debone it, you're going to end up with a little less flesh, if that makes any sense. Because it's now dry, the moisture has been taken out of it. So you need to make sure that you purchase a sufficient amount of it, otherwise it's simply not going to be enough. So I'm going to continue to debone the fish. I'm going to show you how it's done, and as you can see, it breaks apart fairly easily, and you simply want to remove the fish, the flesh of the fish, from the skin. And you want to end up with nice chunks of fish. Okay? There we go. Just take your time. Don't manhandle the fish. And you will find that even though you take your time to remove all of the bones, you will still end up with a bone or two. That is just normal. Alright? So, and of course you want to remove stuff that doesn't belong there, like this bit here. We're not going to use that, so we're going to remove it. Now some people just cut the fish in parts. See, we have a nice little bone right here. Can you see it? I hope you can. You remove it. Now some people don't take the time to remove any bones. They simply cut the fish in half or in a couple of parts, and then they stew it with the onions and the tomato. I find that it makes for it's very annoying, like when you're eating and you have to remove bones, like fish bones, from your food. You know what I mean? I don't want to have any hassle when I'm eating. There we go. See, this is what I'm talking about. So you will end up with just the skin, and that is what you need. Now what I have here is warm smoked fish. In my country we call this Warang Visie, and we also have another kind. It is called Visie, meaning dried fish, and that kind has been smoked a little longer, so it's not as pliable, it's not as tender as this kind is, and because it's been smoked a little longer. Now the Warang Visie, the warm smoked fish, hasn't been smoked for that long, so therefore it is a little bit more pliable and tender. All right, and in my opinion, it's a little more delicious. So that is why I always get this. So let me go ahead and continue to debone my fish, and I will show you how to proceed in the next segment. Okay, you guys, so there we have it. My fish has been deboned perfectly. I did spot a couple of minor fish bones, but that's inevitable. You're going to end up with some anyways. I also wanted to share with you some of the ingredients that I'm going to be using for the fish. Over there, I have 2 large tomatoes, 2 large onions, some parsley. Over here, I have a gigantic Scotch bonnet pepper. I'm not going to use this one because it's going to kill me. I'm going to use a smaller one. I have more in the freezer. And what I also wanted to show you is the sweet ginger and the difference between these two, because these two are very much related. Now, we all know ginger. Ginger has a very fiery taste. And the sweet ginger, on the other hand, doesn't have the fiery taste. It has a very sweet, very aromatic scent, and it will give that flavor to your dish. And whenever I make fish like this, I always like to add some chunks of the sweet ginger. Now, sweet ginger is also known as galanga or galangal, depending on where you live in Asia. And in Indonesia, it is called lengkuas. And in my country, we call this laos. Okay? So, let me go ahead and prepare all of these ingredients and show you how to proceed. Now, you guys, what I have here are my plantains, and don't get scared. They're not spoiled. This is the way they should look. And let me tell you something, the darker the plantains, the better they are for frying. Now, a lot of people shy away from these because now that they live here in Europe, these are no longer good enough. You know what I'm talking? So, to those people, I want to say, get over yourselves, okay? Because back home, we always use these, okay, to fry. Trust me when I tell you, the darker the plantain, the better they are for frying, okay? And when you're going to cook a dish such as this one, a traditional, like a home-cooked Afro-Surinamese dish, you have to have your fried plantains, or at the very least some pickled cucumber or some hot sauce or something along those lines. But I am going to do fried plantains today. I'm going to show you how to prepare them. Now, I like my chopping board. There we go. And you simply cut into them like so, and then you peel them with your knife ever so gently. See? And the skin comes off in one piece. Remove some of these little thingies. There we go. See? See what I'm talking? See what I'm talking about? You remove all of this because nobody wants that. So, my mother, God love her, she slices them by hand. I, on the other hand, need my chopping board, so let's go. You simply want to cut them at an angle, like so. Not too thick, not too thin. This will do just fine. See? That's a little thicker. There we go. And these are going to be so delicious. They're going to accompany your meal perfectly. There we go. So, this is what you should end up with. So next what we're going to do, we're going to fry these in a little bit of oil, and these are going to be a perfect little side dish to our main course. So what we're looking for is a nice golden brown fried plantain, okay? Okay, you guys, so the plantains are fried. What we're gonna do next, we're gonna make the sauce for the fish. To my pan, I've added some oil. I think it is now hot enough for me to add my fermented shrimp powder. Just like so. And the fermented shrimp powder is also known as trasi, and it comes in a paste and in a powder, as you can see. And I prefer the powder. Now, what I'm gonna add next is my galangal root. And next I'm gonna add my garlic. And after about a minute, you're gonna add the onions. And we're using a lot of onions, you guys. So next, I'm gonna cover the pan and I'm gonna allow the onions to simmer on medium heat for about 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, you guys, so it's been about 7 minutes. Let's have a look at our onions. Ooh, honey, they're looking good. I'm gonna add my pepper now. Yes, this is what we're talking about. So I am now going to add some black pepper. There we go. And what I'm also gonna add are my tomatoes. So to this mixture now we're gonna add about 400 mils of water. There we go. So next we're gonna cover the pan yet again, and we're gonna allow the tomatoes to wilt, and the tomatoes and the onions alike will help to make a very nice thick sauce. Alright? Alright. Okay, you guys, so it's been about 10 minutes and my sauce has been simmering nicely. Let's have a look, see? Ooh, honey, yeah, baby. So let's give it a bit of a stir. This is looking good. It is smelling good. My word. And that pepper, wow. So next what we're gonna do, we are going to season this sauce. I've already added the black pepper. I am now going to add some stock powder. And of course, we're going to give it a nice little stir. So this is looking great. I just tasted it. It is delicious. I'm not gonna lie to you. Next, we're gonna add the fish, just like so. And you simply scoop the sauce onto the fish. Just like this. Don't manhandle the fish. You don't want to break it too much. We're not making pate. Simply and gently scoop the sauce onto the fish. Just like so. There we have it. So lastly, we're going to add a couple of sprigs of parsley. Then we're going to cover the pan and we're going to allow the fish to simmer for another 10 minutes on low heat. Alright? Alright. Now, what about that final presentation? Doesn't it look gorgeous? Honey, let me tell you, it was gorgeous too. I'm not gonna lie to you. Now, if you can find any of these ingredients in your neck of the woods, and if you want to try this dish yourself, let me know how it turned out, because I'm always interested in hearing from you. In the meantime, do be well, take care, happy cooking, happy eating. Thank you for supporting the channel and everything else that I do. And until we meet again, my friends, have a good one. Saludos desde Miami. Ciao.